Actually, Jessica, you brought up a good point about in terms of operating the hotel, that it's a lot easier than. But that also brings in the question, service. So can you talk a little bit about service at a mid-scale property? I mean, does it have to, if you have not as many people maybe working at the front, maybe one front desk person? I don't know exactly how you guys.
Well, we have our managers work. I mean, there's a lot smaller. There are 31 rooms. You have to remember that.
Right.
Our managers work the desk shifts 3 times a week to 4, if not 5, in slow times. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're cleaning rooms as well. And in other times when there's a front desk person, they are expected to clean rooms. But the rooms are within a few feet from the desk, and they
right.
can't. It doesn't affect service. You have certain times when you have the touch points with your guest, and you can mm-hmm. be a good service person, and then there's times when they're just not around.
And what about one of the bigger hotels that more rooms? Is it? What does service in mid-scale mean to you? What should it be?
And I mean, it should have, the rooms have to be clean. I think you have to have, the breakfast segment that, what you're going to put out there has to be of great quality, because there's competition amongst all of us at this table for that same guest. I think the other thing is, you have to have internet. You have to have, the Wi-Fi. I mean, it's the biggest thing. I mean, yesterday I was at a graduation party, and I was talking to someone. He says, "What are you doing in the hotel business?" And he goes, "You can't believe it. I went to a big box. I went to a Marriott, and they wanted to charge me for Wi-Fi, and I went to a mid-scale property, and I get it for free." He goes, "That's ridiculous."
It's free for all of you.
Yes. Yeah? Yes. So I think from an amenity standpoint, I think that is as critical as everything.
So
else.
Clean room and Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and look, you have TripAdvisor out there. You have all social media out there. People talk about a property when they're there or they visit. So you have to, you go to some properties that you have to keep it at that higher level as if you're having the same experience here without F&B.
Right.
But you're thinking, you said service and amenities.
Different.
They're two different things.
Oh, yeah, right, sure. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Service has got to be there every day of the week. I don't care if you're staying at a budget place or high-end or, mid-scale. It's got to be there every day of the week, regardless. Mm-hmm. The amenity side, in fact, Gus is correct again. Everybody here in the mid-scale has the free Wi-Fi. They have the breakfast, the hot breakfast. Not necessarily always cooked to order, but it's a hot breakfast. You got to have an exercise room. It's paramount. I'm not a pool believer, but most brands want a pool. We want a pool unless you can't build it because of space. Right. Then we're going to want a larger exercise room. So there are things a guest wants. And put yourself in the, when you travel, what do you want to do when you get up in the morning? I want to make my coffee. I want to be able to get on the thing. I want to put my tennis shoes on and possibly go down the treadmill. If you should have one. If not, you've got something pretty darn close.
Right.
So those amenities have to be a constant for the most part in this segment. Service, forget about it. Service has got to be there every day.
Yeah.
It has to be.
That's a constant.
See, the reason there's the ROI on the mid-scale is they have those certain things. Actually, the mid-scale from the travelers are smart. They vote with their pocketbook is the best deal. I mean, they want hot breakfast, they want Wi-Fi, they want the exercise room. They may or may not use it. They like to have a pool, may or may not use it. But that's why really the mid-scale is the hot area, because it has those things. Like here, it costs you $17 at this hotel for Wi-Fi. Now I can understand it's in the middle of New York City, but in the highway, you want to get it. You're traveling down the highway. You want to have a hot breakfast. I may or may not work out. I say I'm going to work out, but I never do. And I want the Wi-Fi. That's what makes the industry the mid-scale is so successful, because it's the best deal.
Right.
It's the best deal in the industry. For $75 to $100 in most markets, you get yourself a nice room and you're down the road.
Yeah. Well, that's why the term full service is a joke. It always has been. The limited service are they're the ones that actually provide all the service. The full service, you get the room, you pay for everything else.
It comes back to what did Buffett say? Price is what you pay, and value is what you get. And it's value. I've found value in a 200-room hotel before. But I've also found incredible being ripped off at $150. But I've found value at $59.99 on the interstate in a red roof inn. And I thought, you know what? It comes down to that, what we said before, got to be clean. If you're not clean, you're stuffed. And you've got to have that service. And that service is really that attentiveness. And then when you start getting into the amenities, if you start to look through those TripAdvisor comments, it's really interesting that when you observe the GM and the hotel responding in a way that you would say service is good, then it seems that you get better comments and you get better traction. But if that service and cleanliness is not there, value at 59 or value at 200, you're in trouble.
Right. Here's a thought about the internet access. The upper upscale and luxury brands, management contracts are based on a percent of total revenue. Mid-scale, mostly based on a franchise fee or royalty fee, a percent of room revenue. So there's an argument to be said for the mid-scale brands would rather have the room rate be just a little bit higher and participate in the royalty fees, whereas the upper upscale and luxury brands would rather have, a management fee of 3% plus an incentive fee based on that incremental revenue. So there's an incentive for a different model. There also is a little bit different nature of use of high-speed internet access in luxury and upper upscale hotels. A lot more downloading of massive files for business travelers, a lot more downloading of media. So the cost of providing internet service is much higher at the full-service hotels as well. The numbers to meet current needs are coming up to $40,000 to $50,000 per property in the upper upscale luxury. I don't know what they are in mid-scale, but they're not that much.
Not the smart guy in there.
One thing that we're spending a lot of time on, and we have a lot of full-service properties too that make a lot of money in our system. So it's not just new construction. It's not just limited service. It's also, if you do it right, the mid-scale's figured out a way to make money. Right. And it's got to be more efficient food and beverage service. You've got to be able to do a grab-and-go concept. Holiday is actually showing that you can do a mid-scale product and make money. Yeah. I think the Red Lions that we have, and again, we're a smaller organization than many of you guys, that we've done very well at really streamlining the process. And as far as smaller properties, it makes sense to go into to do a 34 or 5-room property, maybe in a very small market, but for the bigger brands, we would never do, back in the days when I was a choice for several years. We wouldn't even allow something less than 50 rooms. You got to be, there's a certain point where it depends on the investor, I guess, but there's a certain point where you need to be to really make enough money to survive because of the highs and lows. So, I just want to say, I would suggest that we look at hotels that are, if you're going to do limited service, new construction, you're about 75 to 125 rooms, and you do some kind of a food and beverage outlet, whether it's a grab-and-go, cafe to go, something like that, to be very successful in this segment. Right. Well, that's my position.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of interest from full-service hotels that want to scale down and go mid-scale. Look, we have all this excess space from a meeting room standpoint, comfort where it gets no use. We have a huge F&B outlet. It's getting no use. We're not making money. It's costing us money. Can you come out and look at this and see, can we scale our operation down and go from a full-service hotel to a mid-scale?
So a little down flag kind of?
Yeah,
down
go
flag.
from segment. From the full-service to the mid-scale segment. Saying, look, what can we convert the meeting space to?
Yeah.
Can we break that out to a gym or another smaller meeting room? Can we scale down the F&B to go with the grab-and-go concept? Strip some costs out, but still try to preserve a high enough rate to get a better ROI. So
and I'm not sure if a down flag is it can go the other way. A restaurant in a hotel is a loss leader. It's a waste of space. But what I can't do, or what most of us can't do, is take that asset, convert it to another brand, and leave that space empty. Right. You've got to do something with it. Right. You've got to create either meeting space, a larger exercise room, smaller, restaurant concept, or a great breakfast area. It's got to be chopped up so it looks like it belongs. It can't just be empty space. So you're not necessarily taking it down. You may be taking it up. It could be an independent in a town of 10,000 people. They used to be the restaurant in town. Now this stuff has Applebee's on the corner. It has this, that, whatever. Nobody's no longer going there. Sure. So the space is now empty. You take that up to a conversion on your side would be, can you do a comfort conversion on this?
He can do comfort.
I'm sorry.
Don't let me find that at the end.
So if they have an agreement, I wouldn't talk about it.
But each one of us could take that and make it a limited service property with
a conference center.
A conference or some kind of food amenity there. It's not a full-service restaurant that's a lost leader.
Right.
You know, it's a waste of space.
But I think what you're also seeing, and we're talking about F&B, but you're also seeing midscale extended stay too. Okay, in that segment now, you guys are coming out with something, and I think now what you're seeing, one of the things that we're facing more and more is, you know, part of the planning is dual branding. Do I split it and then do extended stay on one side? You know, do I have, you know, I might keep a smaller grab and go, or just, you know, breakfast in the morning and a bar at night with a little pub light menu versus, and then take, you know, a certain part of that property and make it another brand and create that. So we're seeing more and more of that, where people are looking at the product in the marketplace. They buy it at certain, you know, right now you can buy it at, you know, 20, 30 cents on the dollar, or, you know, less than half of replacement cost, and then they put the money into it and do that. So we are seeing more and more of that going on.
Interesting to see what's happening in the big major hotel companies, how the executives from the mid-scale and upscale brands are being promoted into the full-service brands because they get the economics, and they're not you know, so hung up on the tradition of we have to have the full-service tablecloth restaurant 7 days a week, 3 meals a day. Right. And several of the brands I think will be announcing at the conference this weekend, starting this weekend, some of their new concepts for full service, and basically acknowledging exactly what you said. The traditional full service definition as applies to food and beverage just doesn't work. Right. Yeah.
Hence the select service thing that pops out, where you go, well, we'll do this and that and the other thing. It's not pure limited service, but it's the select service.
Dean Hanson, was that question number 8? Was that the behind the scenes?
That's
Just good. I would ask that question.
I think there have been some appointments, not highly publicized, but when you read your publications,
yes,
the,
only ours.
So it's very interesting, and again, some of the new brand reinventions, how they're redefining the restaurant.
Yeah.
It will be a restaurant, it'll be the same number of square feet, but the economics will change. You know, payroll costs will be cut as, you know, be half the percent of revenue that it's been. Food costs might be a little bit higher, and then try to hold the same revenue. So instead of 26% departmental cost, which isn't really, I mean, that's the uniform system accounts definition, but that's before a lot of costs are allocated to it. You know, to try to get up to 34, 35. Now it's not as good as rooms at 75 to 80, but it sure is a lot better than in the low 20s.
You know, and Gus brought up a good point too. When you're buying these assets in these secondary markets, or even some tertiary markets, you get them for 30 cents on the buck. Right. You throw another 20 cents in there, you tear out the lobby, you open the whole thing up, you take out the restaurant, you expand it, you open it up, and now it looks like a brand new contemporary whatever. Right. But it's not full serve. It is, you know, the options are unlimited in what you can do. And now it's new and fresh, and you're still only spent 50 cents on the dollar as opposed to, you know, what you do if you build it new.
Well, that's a good point. And Brian, you brought this up earlier.